Late-night TV erupts in chaos as tech billionaire Elon Musk storms off the Late Show set after heated exchange with Stephen Colbert. What began as typical late-night banter quickly spiraled into a tense confrontation that has the internet buzzing. The shocking moment has already racked up millions of views online. The lights of the Late Show studio dimmed as the audience settled in their seats. The familiar sound of the band played while Stephen Colbert adjusted his blue tie, ready for what should have been a regular interview with tech billionaire Elon Musk. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Elon Musk," Colbert announced, his voice booming through the studio. The audience clapped and cheered as Elon Musk walked onto the stage with his signature awkward smile. He was wearing a simple black t-shirt and jeans, looking relaxed as he waved to the crowd. Both men shook hands, and Musk took his seat across from Colbert's desk. "Welcome back to the show, Elon," Colbert said with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "It's been a while since we've had you here." "Thanks for having me, Stephen," Musk replied, shifting in his seat. "Always good to be here." The interview started normally. They talked about Musk's companies and his recent tweets. The audience laughed at the right moments, and everything seemed fine. But then Colbert's questions started to change. "So, Elon, I've been meaning to ask," Colbert began, leaning forward in his chair. "Your Cybertruck, is it supposed to look like a villain's car from a low-budget sci-fi movie? Or was that just an accident?" A few nervous laughs came from the audience. Musk forced a smile. "It's actually a revolutionary design. The sharp angles serve a purpose." "A purpose like making sure no one will ever find it attractive?" Colbert interrupted. The audience's laughter grew louder, more uncomfortable. Musk's smile faded slightly. "Well, we've actually had incredible demand. People appreciate something different." "Different is one word for it," Colbert said, smirking. "I guess different is also how I'd describe those tunnels you're digging. You know, the ones that were supposed to solve traffic but are basically just underground traffic jams?" The audience gasped, then laughed nervously. Musk's face hardened. "The Boring Company's tunnels are designed to revolutionize transportation. We're still in early stages, but—" "Early stages? It's been years," Colbert cut in. "At this rate, we'll all be flying in those rocket ships you keep promising before anyone uses those tunnels." Tension filled the studio. The camera caught Musk's jaw tightening. A producer offstage made a subtle cutting motion, suggesting they move to a commercial break, but Colbert ignored it. "Speaking of promises," Colbert continued, "remember when you said Tesla would have 1 million robotaxis on the road by 2020? How's that going? I haven't seen any, unless they're invisible." "Are they invisible, Elon?" The audience was no longer laughing comfortably. They could feel the mood shifting. This wasn't the usual playful banter of late-night TV. "We've made significant progress with our self-driving technology," Musk said, his voice now flat. "These things take time to perfect. Safety is our priority." "Safety, sure," Colbert nodded, then looked down at some notes. "Is that why Tesla stock dropped 15% last month after those autopilot issues were reported?" Musk's eyes narrowed. "That's not accurate. The stock fluctuations were due to market conditions and—" "Market conditions like people realizing promises don't equal products?" Colbert pushed. The band leader looked uncomfortable, exchanging glances with other band members. "This wasn't in the script." "You know what?" Musk said, sitting up straighter. "I came here to have a conversation, not to be insulted." "I'm just asking questions, Elon," Colbert said with a shrug. "Isn't that what interviews are for? To ask about things like your robot that fell over during its big reveal? Or that time you promised to end world hunger and then didn't?" Musk's face flushed red. The audience was dead silent now. Everyone could feel that this had crossed from entertainment into something else entirely. "Let's talk about your Twitter purchase," Colbert said, not letting up. "You spent billions on a social media platform just to watch advertisers run away. Was that part of the master plan?" "You're being unfair," Musk said, his voice raised slightly. These are complex issues that can't be reduced to cheap jokes. I don't know, Elon, Colbert replied, his tone sharper now. Cheap jokes seem to work for your boring company flamethrowers and those silly robot taxis that never showed up. The tension in the room was unbearable. The director was frantically signaling for a commercial break, but Colbert seemed determined to continue. And don't get me started on those brain chips. Are you actually putting computers in people's heads, or is that just another empty promise to add to the collection? That was the breaking point. Musk stood up suddenly, his chair screeching against the floor. The audience gasped collectively. This wasn't supposed to happen on a late-night comedy show. I didn't come here for this, Musk said, his voice trembling. With anger, he began removing his microphone. What's wrong? Colbert asked, feigning innocence but with a gleam in his eye. Can't the richest man in the world handle a few questions about all those promises he made? The studio was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Everyone was watching, knowing they were witnessing something unprecedented in late-night television. You think this is funny? Musk said, his voice low and dangerous. You invite me on your show to make me look stupid? Colbert leaned back in his chair, a smirk still playing on his lips. I didn't have to do much to make that happen. Your Twitter decisions did that all by themselves. A few nervous laughs rippled through the audience, quickly fading into uncomfortable silence. You have no idea what it takes to build something, Musk shot back, still standing, the microphone dangling from his hand. It's easy to sit there and make jokes while others take risks. Risks? Colbert raised his eyebrows. Is that what we're calling it when you tweet something ridiculous and Tesla stock drops 20%? I think your shareholders call those heart attacks. Musk's knuckles turned white as he gripped the microphone. Speaking of Tesla, our cars have saved countless lives with their safety features, but I guess that's not as interesting as making fun of a window breaking during a demo. Oh, we're bringing up the unbreakable window that broke immediately? Colbert laughed. Classic. That was like watching someone confidently walk into a glass door. The band leader tried to ease the tension by playing a short riff, but it only made the moment more awkward. You know what? Musk said, his voice rising. I've launched rockets that land themselves. I've built the most valuable car company in the world. What have you done besides making smug jokes from behind a desk? The audience let out a collective, ooh. Colbert's smile faltered for a split second before he recovered. Well, I haven't promised to solve world hunger and then ghosted the UN, Colbert fired back. I haven't called heroes pedos because they didn't use my submarine. And I definitely haven't tanked my company's stock with reckless tweets. Musk yanked the microphone off completely and threw it on the chair. This isn't an interview. It's an ambush. A producer rushed onto the stage, whispering something to Colbert, who waved her away. Come on, Elon, Colbert said, standing up now too. Don't be so sensitive. For someone who posts memes all day, you can't seem to take a joke. There's a difference between jokes and whatever this is, Musk replied, gesturing around. You don't care about innovation or progress. You just want clicks and views. Speaking of things you click on and view, Colbert continued relentlessly, how's that social media platform working out? Still letting people say whatever they want? How's that going for your advertisers? The camera caught Musk's eye twitching. The audience was split. Some were clearly uncomfortable, while others seemed to be enjoying the drama unfolding before them. You're a hypocrite, Musk said, pointing at Colbert. You claim to care about the future, about climate change, but when someone actually tries to do something about it, you mock them. I'm not mocking electric cars, Colbert clarified. I'm mocking the guy who promised self-driving taxis and delivered cars that can't recognize fire trucks. The director was frantically signaling for a commercial break again, drawing a finger across his throat. The network executives watching from the wings looked horrified. You want to talk about promises? Musk's voice was getting louder. How about your promise to be funny? Still waiting on that one, the audience gasped. Colbert's face reddened. At least my jokes don't cost people their life savings when I deliver them, Colbert shot back. This is exactly what's wrong with the media, Musk said, looking around at the cameras. You don't care about truth or progress. You just want to tear people down for entertainment. Oh, please, Colbert rolled his eyes dramatically. Next you'll tell us you're buying this show too and firing me. I wouldn't waste my money, Musk snapped. Your ratings are probably as reliable as a Tesla Cybertruck delivery date. Colbert laughed, but there was no humor in it. Speaking of money, how about those SpaceX explosions? Each one costs what? Millions of dollars? Boom! There goes another one. But I guess when you're the richest man in the world, you can afford to blow things up for fun. Those explosions are part of innovation, Musk replied through gritted teeth. Something you wouldn't understand. Each failure teaches us something. And what did you learn from your Twitter purchase? Besides the fact that $44 billion doesn't buy you the love you're looking for? A vein was visibly pulsing in Musk's forehead now. The audience was frozen in their seats, many recording on their phones, knowing this would be viral by morning. You think you're so clever, don't you? Musk said, taking a step toward Colbert's desk. Making fun of electric cars while the planet burns. Mocking space exploration while we destroy the only planet we have. You're part of the problem, Stephen. The only problem I see is a billionaire who can't handle a few jokes, Colbert replied, not backing down. Maybe spend less time on social media and more time fulfilling all those promises you've made. Musk looked around at the audience, then at the cameras, then back at Colbert. You know what people tell me about your show? They say it's not as good as it used to be. They say you lost your edge when you stopped being genuine and started pandering. It was Colbert's turn to look stung. The audience held their breath. Well, people tell me your cars catch fire for no reason, Colbert retorted. But I don't go, crying about it on national television. I'm done here, Musk said, turning to leave. This isn't an interview. It's character assassination. Colbert stood up from behind his desk. You're walking out? The richest man in the world can't take a few tough questions? Musk spun around, his face flushed with anger. Questions? You haven't asked a single real question. You've just been taking cheap shots since I sat down. Fine. Here's a real question, Colbert said, voice dripping with sarcasm. When exactly did you decide that overpromising and under-delivering was a good business strategy? The audience gasped. Some people started to boo, not at Musk, but at Colbert. The host seemed surprised by this reaction. You want to know my strategy? Musk walked back toward the desk. I try to solve the biggest problems facing humanity. Clean energy, sustainable transport, making life multiplanetary. What's your strategy besides making fun of people who are actually trying to make a difference? Colbert scoffed. Oh, please, spare me the savior of humanity routine. You're a businessman selling cars and launching satellites for profit. You think I started these companies to get rich? Musk laughed bitterly. I put every cent I had into Tesla and SpaceX when everyone said they would fail. They nearly did. I could have lost everything. But you didn't, Colbert shot back. Instead, you became the richest person on the planet, while tweeting memes and making promises you can't keep. Musk shook his head. You don't get it. None of this was guaranteed. Do you know how many electric car companies failed? How many rocket companies went bankrupt? The odds were against us from day one. Yet somehow you found time to buy Twitter and turn it into a dumpster fire, Colbert said with a smirk. You know what? Musk reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. Let's see what your precious audience thinks about all this. He held up his phone to show a live Twitter poll he had just posted. Is Stephen at home being fair or just being a jerk? The results were already flooding in, heavily favoring just being a jerk. Colbert looked momentarily flustered. Oh, so now we're doing Twitter polls? Very scientific. The producer was frantically waving from offstage, drawing her finger across her throat repeatedly. The network executives looked like they were about to have heart attacks. "You want to talk about my failures?" Musk continued, gaining confidence, as he saw the audience's reaction shifting. "At least I'm trying to do something meaningful. What's the point of your show anymore? To mock people who are trying to make a difference?" Colbert's smile was gone now. "The point of my show is to speak truth to power. And when billionaires make grandiose claims, someone needs to call them out." "Truth?" Musk laughed. "You wouldn't recognize truth if it hit you in the face. You're just playing to your audience, saying what you think they want to hear." Some audience members were nodding in agreement, which clearly rattled Colbert. "You know what the difference is between us, Stephen?" Musk said, his voice calmer now. "When my rockets explode, I learn from it and build something better. When my promises don't come true on time, I keep working until they do. But you just sit here night after night, making the same jokes, never risking anything, never building anything." The studio was so quiet you could hear the air conditioning humming. Colbert seemed at a loss for words, which had never happened before on his show. "Ladies and gentlemen," Musk turned to address the audience directly. "I came here tonight thinking this would be a normal interview. I was going to talk about our new AI project, the latest Mars mission developments, and some exciting Tesla announcements. Instead, I got whatever this was." He gestured toward Colbert, who stood frozen behind his desk. "I believe in what I'm doing," Musk continued. "I believe in working toward a better future, even if we stumble along the way, even if people mock us, even if we miss deadlines. The point is to keep trying, to keep pushing forward." Surprisingly, the audience began to applaud. It started with a few people and spread until most of the crowd was clapping. Colbert looked around, clearly shocked by this turn of events. "So yes," Musk said, picking up his microphone from the chair and dropping it on the floor with a loud thud that echoed through the studio. "I'm done here." As Musk turned to leave again, Colbert finally found his voice. "Wait, Elon, wait!" Musk paused at the edge of the stage, not fully turning around. "Look, maybe I went too far," Colbert admitted. His tone completely changed. "The jokes got out of hand. That's on me." The audience was silent, watching this unexpected moment unfold. "I do respect what you're trying to accomplish," Colbert continued, sounding genuinely contrite. "The electric car revolution, space exploration, all of it. Even if the execution isn't always perfect, the vision is important." Musk turned slightly, listening but still poised to leave. "How about we start over?" Colbert suggested. "A real conversation, no cheap shots. I'm actually curious about that AI project you mentioned." For a moment it seemed like Musk might reconsider. The tension in the room was palpable as everyone waited for his response. "Another time, perhaps," Musk finally said, his voice level. "I think we've given the internet enough to talk about for one night." And with that, he walked off the stage. The studio remained silent for several seconds before erupting into a mixture of applause, murmurs, and a few boos. The band awkwardly began to play, trying to salvage the situation. Colbert stood alone behind his desk, looking genuinely shaken. "We'll be right back after this break," he said quietly to the camera, loosening his tie as the show cut to commercial. By morning, clips of the confrontation had gone viral. Colbert vs. Musk was trending worldwide. News programs played the exchange on repeat. Social media was divided, with some praising Colbert for challenging a powerful billionaire, and others criticizing him for what they saw as unprofessional behavior. The Late Show released a brief statement. "Last night's interview did not reflect the values of our show. We always aim to create entertaining content while treating our guests with respect. We regret how the interview unfolded." Musk, true to form, had already tweeted about it. "TV shows are rated on views. Mission accomplished, I guess? Next time, I'll stick to podcasts where there's time for actual conversation." Within days, the fallout had reached beyond social media. Several sponsors paused their advertising on The Late Show. CBS executives called emergency meetings, and Colbert, for the first time in his career, found himself issuing an on-air apology. The following night, "Sometimes in comedy we cross lines," he told his audience, looking uncharacteristically humble. "Last night I crossed several. That's not what this show is about, and that's not who I want to be as a host or as a person." As for Musk, the confrontation ultimately worked in his favor. Tesla stock, after briefly dipping, rose significantly as supporters rallied behind him. His new AI project announcement, released via social media instead of on Colbert's show, received far more attention than it would have otherwise. The incident became a case study in how not to conduct an interview and a reminder that even on a comedy show, there's a line between pointed questions and personal attacks. For both men, it was a night that would follow them for years to come. A rare, unscripted moment of raw conflict on late-night television that no one who watched would ever forget.